Welcome to MMT Chats. This episode brought to you by ISCAR with new ideas for machining intelligently. Hey MMT followers, Christina Fuges with MoldMaking Technology, back for another quick MMT chat. My guest today is an injection mold designer, a CNC machinist, a 3D modeling wizard, a self-proclaimed SolidWorks master, 3D printing curious, a motocrosser, a mountain biker, and a part-time runner and fitness junkie. But most importantly for today, he's a small business owner in North Carolina. Meet Richard Evans, owner of Reaction Plastic Solutions, or RPS for short. Hi, Richard.
Hey, good morning.
How are you doing?
Good. How about yourself?
Pretty good. All right. So why don't we start off? Let's give everybody watching a brief snapshot of your journey, your background, your education, and your job experience. Kind of what led you to manufacturing and to mold making.
I don't know that there's anything that led me to manufacturing. I'd say I was probably more forced into it. I was a typical high school kid. I didn't even know what manufacturing or mold making was. I grew up on a farm. We raised tobacco and chickens and cows, all the normal stuff you do in the South. And I spent, when I wasn't at school, I spent all my time at the track or working on my bike, with the goals that I was going to be a pro motocross racer when I got out of high school. And eventually, when none of that started to pan out, and I didn't have a lot of desire to go to a 4-year college. My guidance counselor kind of pushed me into taking a tour at one of the local shops that participated in the Apprenticeship 2000 program.
Yep, familiar with that.
I took a tour to Meritech with Steve Rotman, and I think I was 17 at the time, and I still didn't have a clue what it was, but I agreed, because I didn't know that really any other options. I started in the trade my senior year in high school, and learn on the floor, what molds were, how to build molds, how to assemble molds, the whole 9 yards, all the way, up to, CNC programming, and eventually worked my way into mold design at the company. And spent several years in design, designing all the tools for them, from anything from automotive to appliance and whatnot. And got a lot of experience doing that. And then I was given the opportunity in 2015 to jump ship and go to another company and go work for Technomark to manage their in-house tooling facility where they were building tools. A lot different style of tools than what I was used to. Got exposed to stack tools and medical. And,
Nice.
High cavity tooling. Met a lot of contacts in the industry that way, and that's kind of my background as far as mold making and design and machining. And then now I'm running my own business, designing molds for companies all over the United States, doing product development, for companies whenever they, want to kick off a new part, help them get them designed, help them get them printed for prototyping, then go into the mold design side and help them get the tools built if they need it, get involved in any aspect of it.
All right. So let's stop there for a second. Let's go back for a little bit. What was the hook for you? Like, what hooked you to continue on that path to learn? I mean, Ameritech gave you a fabulous path, right? You were able to touch every aspect of the mold building process. You ended up in design, but to keep you, what was the hook for you?
I've always been one to just kind of want to go on to the next level, so the next level for me would be to be the, full shop management or some sort of business owner.
Okay. So you saw opportunity.
Right. Yeah. I was given the opportunity to go to Technomark to be the managing director of their tool shop. So it gave me the full responsibility from, the shop employees to, to the P&L statements, the whole deal. So
wow. All right.
It was like being a shop owner without actually owning it.
Yeah, exactly. Which could be better sometimes. You never know, right? We could talk about that in a little bit. All right. So what led you to launch your own company, and in 2020 no less, when we were slammed with the pandemic, and the fact that it's focused on really mold design? So talk about the motivation and the process and the reasoning behind all that.
Well, there was a few things. One, it started with just a kind of a candid conversation with a good friend of mine in the industry. He works at a facility that runs molds, injection molds, and also builds tools for their in-house molding. Just chit chat about how things were going where I was and how things were going where he was. And, he mentioned that they were just so slammed on getting molds built and designed. And, as a joke, just made the comment, it's a shame you don't know somebody that could design tools for you and help you out with that. And this was January of 2020.
Okay.
And, basically it was just like, I'll send you 3 designs right now. And I was like,
Oh,
well,
wow.
I don't even have a personal computer anymore or a version of SolidWorks that I could even run. And he's just like, you get it, I'll send it. So, I went online, ordered a computer from Dell, and went to SolidWorks and basically just did a 3-month lease on the software. Just thought, it's winter time, it's cold, not much going on. I had a 1-year-old at home. My wife was pregnant at the time. Our lives weren't really that exciting.
Wow.
So I figured, what the heck, in the evenings, I'd just do a little extra work on the side and bring in a little extra cash. And from there, it just blew up, to be honest with you, ways I didn't expect it. That company has continued to send me work. I had a couple other companies that found out I was doing it, started to send me work. So my doing it on the side turned into working all day, coming home, working most of the night,
Wow, I'm
sleeping a few
sure.
hours, and then, going back to work. And, with all the stuff happening with the pandemic, there's all the restrictions, and I'm, had the joy of trying to enforce those restrictions in a tool shop of stubborn tool makers. And, the shop was an hour and 20 minutes from my house, so I had 2.5 hours in the vehicle every day. Close to 3 hours of commuting per day. And, with a young kid at home, and, my son was born in June of 2020. And
Okay. Oh,
just
wow.
wanted to be, I started getting really, really busy and taking on more work, and, started branching out of just a few local shops to, designing for, shops that were in Chicago and other places. And, I was getting hit with more than, just the stuff that I could handle and still maintain a full-time job. So it was kind of the, either do it or don't do it anymore.
Yeah. They
So
take the
I had to
dive, right?
commit.
Take the plunge or
Right.
not. Exactly. So when was that? When did that actually officially happen?
So that was August of 2020.
Okay.
Um, so it was actually my last day at Technomark was the day my daughter turned 2. So that was her birthday present. Was I was no longer driving to work every day.
Wow.
It was home. So I had a 2-month-old and a 2-year-old.
Wow.
Stay at home wife.
Wow.
And I quit my job in the middle of the pandemic.
But you know what? A lot of people, it's funny, like that happened across many industries, right, in the world that
Right.
time. And actually, still today, people have found that that's actually a better way to work and can be good for
Yeah.
families. So you named it Reaction Plastic Solutions. What's behind the name?
Well, the solutions part, or the plastic's obvious. The
Mhm.
solution part is, I don't want anyone to look at the company and think, it's just mold design,
Mm.
or it's just someone we're gonna send them a part and tell them how we want the design to be done, and they're just gonna draw it. So when I said, put the solutions in there, is, to kind of, I guess, state that it's a full package. It's not
Got it.
just, I'm bringing the machining background, the mold making background, from working from automotive to high cavity packaging to medical tooling, bringing all of that in, and, all that experience into, a full solution for someone that can design a mold, can work with a hot runner manufacturer, a mold based manufacturer, whatever they need
Okay.
done. And basically it's like, I would like to say is like an extension of their internal design team or
Oh,
their
I like
engineering.
that. Well, you know what? Because it sounds like I like that word solutions, and people do use that a lot. But it
Right.
sounds like the support that you provide. It's not just, yeah, it's not just a mold design. It's a
Right.
solution because you're offering all that support, which entails you talk about offer. You have this network, right, of shops, or maybe even other people that you use for the things that you don't want to do, or the things that you can't do. So, is that part of how you've scaled the operation to meet the growing demand?
Yeah, there were a couple things. One thing was I invested in MoldFlow simulation software this
Okay.
year. I had several customers that were looking for that to be able to be done in-house during the mold design, not have the mold
Yeah.
design done, send it off to another third-party company, bring it back, tweak the mold design. They were looking to be able to do that all, just, you know, right in line, just very
Yep.
fluid during the design process. So I invested in that. Was one way of scaling it. Also, got pretty good relationships with some of the other companies that, do that service as well. So that if there's anything above my ability, I can still, work with them on that. Scaling, also is, been bringing on more people this year. I brought on an intern back at the beginning of the summer.
Wow.
It's a local high school kid, 16-year-old. Doesn't know a lot about manufacturing, but he's good with computers and CAD, and been having him doing some detailing on prints, and after the 3D modeling is done. And then as of this week, I actually brought on a full-time guy. So as of this week, we're 3 people.
That's
So
wonderful. Now, are you still at home?
yep, yeah, we're all
So
remote.
I love it.
So,
I love it.
um,
Do you see in the future having a facility yourself, or is this the future, do you think, remote work?
um, yeah, I mean, I would like to keep growing it and get more people involved. I'd like to get more in depth with the mold flow and have someone probably full time that can do that all the time. Like to probably get involved with like purchasing a 3D printer. So
I
right
was going
now,
to say that.
I send out anything I need 3D printed. I'm just sourcing it,
Okay.
for my clients. But I thought about bringing something like that in house, and eventually, maybe even like a small CNC machine. So at that point,
Okay.
yeah, would be looking at having some sort of small building. Maybe renting a space or building a building and having a little part of it for RPS and leasing out the rest of it type deal.
I
So
love it. It's very exciting whenever I hear somebody, and it's happening more than people think. Younger generations getting into this trade. Like people think it's not
yep.
happening, and you're an example that it is happening. People are it's growing. It's actually growing. All right. So what are your most common projects that you're working on? Give me a little snapshot of that.
This year so far has been
Yeah.
medical.
Okay.
Medical has been thriving. Last year and the year before, especially during the election year, it was firearms, to
Oh,
be honest
okay.
with you. But here lately, it's been a lot of medical. Starting to see more automotive come back in from a few companies. To be honest with you, I don't know that there is a one type deal for
Okay.
me. I mean, it can be anything, I design anything from a single cavity mud unit, down and dirty mold
Yep.
design to, 72 cavity molds,
Okay.
stack molds, whatever. I mean, it's never the same, which is nice because
Yeah.
it adds a lot of diversity to the workload and keeps it from getting stale or boring. So,
A
but
variety.
yeah, it's a good variety.
Can you talk? Is there a particular project, whether it's from the past or current, that I don't know, or is the most interesting project you've worked on? Can you talk a little bit about any problems and the solution and the results of that project?
Yeah, probably the most interesting one, or I guess troubleshooting project that I've run into was a part that I don't know if I know exactly the application it went for, but
Hmm.
it was a pipe, and it was like a 3-port pipe, had threads on the end, and it was fairly large. It was a couple inches in diameter and had
Okay.
internal threads in it, had threads off the side, and it had like 4 unscrewing or threaded applications in it. And the current tool was being done in a way where they hand loaded some of them and manually removed the hand loads. They
Hmm.
molded some of it solid with no threads, and they took the piece to a CNC machine and they were CNC milling in the threads. And you know, the customer had come to me, and someone I'd done a lot of mold design for. They're a local molder in North Carolina, and come to me basically with the problem of I can't get this designed and built in a way where it will be automatic. And
Hmm.
when I get the part out of the mold, there's no secondary operations, or I don't have to have an operator standing there removing hand loads and reinserting them into the tool.
Uh-huh.
So, went back and forth a lot with him on the tool design, but in the end, working with ASCO and using their unscrewing cores, and a lot of racks and pinions and rotary unscrewing. We did a lot on it. We got the tool designed in a way that basically he put it in the press and he ran parts that was fully
Nice.
automatic. So
Nice.
it took a while. It
Yeah.
took several weeks of back and forth and looking at it and doing some concepts and talking about it. But in the end, we did get to where he needed to be, so that cut his cost in the long run. So.
Right, true. Well, and what an accomplishment, right? To work through that process. But that's what all you guys do. You're troubleshooters at heart, problem solvers, and that's what you just did
Right.
there. Is the communication with your customers um remote? Do you ever get together with them? Do you go to facilities? How does that work?
It's a mixture.
Okay.
So for anyone local, I deal with some companies down in Charlotte, Gastonia. They're an
Yep.
hour from me. I got some new customers coming on that are to the west of me over in the mountains. I try to get to them periodically. Not once a week or anything, but if
Yeah.
there's a big project coming, or just a few weeks ago, I actually went to a sample for a tool that,
Okay.
designed for the mold builder that he's, a couple hours west of me, but the molder is down in Charlotte. So we all kind of came to a common ground location where the mold could be sampled and, went to the tool trial. When I come up north for the tool shows or,
Yeah.
like the PT Expo or Mold, I try to visit some of my customers in the Chicago area.
Nice.
Just try to at
Okay.
least pay them a visit, drop in and say hello.
Good. No, exactly. I mean, that face-to-face is still really important in this
Yeah.
industry, relationships.
But there's a lot of phone calls, a lot of emails,
A lot of
and then
this.
a lot of, online meetings, Teams
Yep.
meetings or Zoom meetings to go
Yep.
over mold designs and talk about, things. And, because most of my clients, they want me to also be involved with their customer. If I'm designing a mold for the tool shop, most of the time I present the mold design to the tool shop and their customer as well.
Got it.
So I have a good relationship a lot of time with the actual end user of
And
the part
yeah,
as well.
that's
So
valuable. That's could even be more leads for you, right? When you
yeah,
get to
it's
work
got
that.
me a lot of work. A lot
Yeah.
of times that company will take me to other tool shops whenever they're ready to have a mold design. If that tool shop's backed up, they
Yep.
have recommended me
That's
to do
great.
stuff.
So what would you say has been the number one challenge with the business side of what you do?
For me, the biggest challenge was some of it might have been just my being a little bit timid, but was taking the leap to hire someone full time and find someone that I felt like was going to be a good fit, have the experience, the background that I was looking for, being able to jump right in to justify what I would have to pay someone to even want to come on board. But then, obviously the worry of keeping a steady work, to keep that person busy as well. So
Do you worry about that now?
yes and no, but I
Okay.
was able to negotiate a few things with a couple of my current customers that basically is giving me guaranteed work.
Nice. All right, Richard. Well, thank you for your time today. It was great to get to know you a little bit more. I wish you the best of luck with Reaction. I think there's nothing but good things ahead. So let's keep in touch.
All right. Thank you.
All right. And to everybody watching, for everything mold making, make sure you visit moldmakingtechnology.com, stay informed and stay inspired.